In 2014, the Superstock Championship lost 4 of the top 5 from the previous year. Morbidelli emigrated to Moto. Christian Gamarino moved to the 600 World Championship, and Bastien Chasseau shifted to the European Moto 2. The entry list has 35 starters, 15 of them Italian, including youngsters Kevin Manfredi and Luca Salvadori, who are now Moto E World pilots, or Michael Ruba Rinaldi, today an official Ducati Superbike pilot, or Federico Caricasulo, racing in the supersport world, and more big names currently in the CIV. But it's not. Other key names include Gauthier Duels, a top racer, with 2 wins, Niki Tuli, also in the World Supersport with Triumph, and Ilya Michalczyk, a Ukrainian rider with appearance in the World Speak, and an official BMW rider in the EWC. The calendar has 7 stages, starting with Aragon.
The European Stock 600 season kicks off on Spanish track with pole position going to Marco Faccani, clocking 2.04, 951, followed by Niki Tuli, Duels and Tessels. Faccani leads at start, ahead of Tuli, with the Finn taking over at the turn 9. The Italian takes it back by turn 14 and stays in lead till the second lap, where the Finn gets back in and Tessels shows up, but stays behind for now. Meantime, Caruso crashed at turn 9 of the second lap. Faccani retakes the lead on the straight and keeps it with a strong brake. At the 16th, the Italian from Team Italia tries to pull away, and a group is forming behind, from the 2nd to the 6th position. Meanwhile, fight between Caricasulo and Casalotti for 5th, with number 64 overtaking and trying assault at the end of the straight. Tessels overtakes Thule, gains the... At turn 12, Tessels overtakes Tuli, gains the position. At the 16 and moves up, who uses the fight between the 2 Italians to slip in. Caricasulo doesn't wait and overtakes the Dutch at the 12th. Caricasulo doesn't wait and overtakes the Dutch at turn 12. At the beginning of the penultimate lap, Tucci brakes hard and loses 4th position, finding himself 6th behind Salvadori. Caricasulo at the 16th withstands attacks from Tessels and Tuuli and starts the final lap in 2nd. The Dutch slips in at turn 6 and Tucci in the meantime takes 4th. The Italian at the 16 overtakes Tessels and secures 2nd place. Up front, Faccani takes a dominating win, though Caricasulo is disqualified for not processing a ride-through, thus losing the 4th spot. Caricasulo at the 16th withstands attacks from Tessels and Tuli and begins the final lap in 2nd. The Italian at 16 takes Tessels, locking in 2nd place. Meanwhile, Faccani up front finishes a dominant race. Yet Caricasulo is disqualified for no ride-through. He loses 4th place. Caricasulo is on pole on the Dutch track, leading in 1:40 then 858 ahead of wildcard Davy Thunen. First round winners Faccani and Tessels. Just before start, Caricasulo starts best but loses position to Thunen, Tuli, Hartog and Tessels. Tuli takes lead in the 2nd lap, Manfredi takes third. The Finn gets more than 1.5 seconds ahead. Manfredi battles with Thunen and Tessels. Tuli stretches the lead. Thunen retakes 2nd but loses it and 3rd to homeboy Tessels, who also overtakes Manfredi for 2nd. Halfway through the race, Tuli leads by 3 seconds. Aragon winner Faccani has slipped to 12th place. On lap 7, Thunen, who was 4th, crashes and wrecks his race as a wildcard. Start of the 8th lap, Tessels and Manfredi get close to Tuli. 8th lap, Tessels and Manfredi get close to Thule. The duo indeed gains 2.5 seconds on the Finn from Yamaha in 1 lap. Manfredi takes the lead at turn 1, despite the risk of hitting the grass on the straight. Swiss Trossard meanwhile falls out at turn 5. Manfredi and Tuli pull ahead of Tessels, with the Italian holding off the Finn, who gambles at 16 with lapped, but manages to stay close to the Sarzana rider. Manfredi, with 2 laps to go, takes a big risk at the chicane. Tuli easily retakes the lead, and Caricasulo falls down. Tuli ends up winning the race, with Manfredi settling for 2nd after the risk. 3rd, Hartog 4th. Aragon Race 1 winner, Faccani comes in 10th. The 3rd race of the Stock 600 goes down at Enzo Edino Ferrari of Imola. Tuli's leading the championship with 38 points after 2 tests, followed by Tessels at 32, Faccani and Tucci at 31. Pole position goes to Faccani in 1.53, 938, followed by Tuli, Caricasulo and Salvadori. At the start, Faccani's the quickest, before Caricasulo, Tuli and Salvadori. The Finn takes a big tumble after the Tamburello variant. To avoid him, Salvadori brakes and loses time. Faccani finishes the first lap with a 1.5 second lead. Caricasulo, Tucci and Casalotti always follow. Tuli recovers quickly and is in 6th place at the start of the 3rd lap. At the Variante Bassa, Casalotti overtakes Caricasulo with an incredible break, taking 2nd place. In the meantime, Tooley overtakes both Salvadori and Tucci, reaching 4th place. Faccani dominates and at the 4th lap has more than a 2.5 second lead. Meanwhile, Tooley attempts to overtake Casalotti for 2nd place at Acque Minerali, but has to wait until Rivazza to get the temporary silver medal. While Faccani is getting further away, Tucci's teammate is having some trouble, and he's overtaken by Rinaldi, who makes a mistake at Variante Alta and loses position. Halfway through, the leader is 3.5 seconds ahead of Tooley, who's trying to get away from Casalotti. Meanwhile, Belgian Duels withdraws due to technical issues at Toto. Salvadori gets to 4th place at Villeneuve with a good overtaking move on Caricasulo, who seems in trouble. After losing ground in the previous 3 laps, Faccani pulls a 1.54 and extends his lead over Tooley and Casalotti. Meanwhile, Gobbi has a bad crash at turn 17. In the battle for 4th position, Rinaldi gets 5th and Manfredi 7th over Tucci, while Salvadori seems to be escaped. But then Manfredi crashes at Tosa and ruins a great race. Meanwhile, Faccani finishes race solo, dominating in front of Tooley and Casalotti. Misano Adriatico is the turning point of the Europe Stock 600 Championship. 3 races down and 3 to go after the Romagnolo circuit race. Tooley is still in the lead, but only by 2 points over Faccani. It's the rider from San Carlo Team Italia in pole position, the 3rd in 4 races, 1 milliseconds ahead of Caricasulo, Tessels, and wildcard Davide. Championship leader Tooley is only 17th. Again, the best starter is Faccani, leading Casalotti, Marshall, Michalczyk, Gobbi, and championship leader Tooley all crash within the first 5 curves. Faccani and Caricasulo try to break away, with Sturpi, Tessels, and Sabatino behind them fighting. Sabatino tries to attack Tessels at the Quercia but ends up wide and easily passed. Caricasulo tries to lead on lap 4, but Faccani answers by braking harder on the first curve. Meanwhile, further back, Tucci overtakes Manfredi for 7th place, and Zacconi overtakes Duels for 9th. Midway through, Faccani and Caricasulo lead by about 3 seconds over Sturpe and Tessels, and number 64. Early in round 8, Caricasulo stumbles hard and loose from Faccani. Further back, Salvadori overtakes Duels for the 10th spot, while Novosel falls at the car. Tucci goes wide at Caro and drops 4 places at once. Faccani wins his 2nd consecutive race and the 3rd this season ahead of Caricasulo and Stirpe. The fight at the back ends with Zacconi leading Manfredi, Salvatori, and Tucci. In the rankings, Faccani leads the championship by 23 points over Tooley, followed by Tessels with 29 less and Tucci with 36 less. The 5th Superstock 600 European Championship race takes place at Portuguese Portimao. Faccani could win the title right here. If Tooley and Tessels has a bad result, it could make the Italian champion in advance. Tessels grabs the pole at 1 minute 48.317 seconds. Caricasulo takes the lead while Manfredi makes a scary high side in the first turn. Luckily, he's okay. Zeeland and Santoro are also involved in the fall. Start of the 2nd lap, Faccani takes 2nd spot ahead of Tessels and is 1st at Portimao. Caricasulo attempts an attack, but Faccani brakes harder and stays in control. Number 5 makes an excellent lap and pulls ahead of Caricasulo and Tessels, gaining about a second. Right behind, Bodis overtakes Michalczyk for 4th place, gaining about a second. Right behind, Bodis overtakes Michalczyk for 4th place. The Ukrainian tries to fight back, but the Hungarian holds him off with a hard brake at turn 1. At the 8 and 9 turn, Tucci lacks control and nearly sees a dangerous fall. Luckily, Michalczyk tries again, but Bodis holds on to 4th spot. Michalczyk tries again, but Bodis holds on to 4th spot. The same risk. At the first turn, Tucci surpasses both Michalczyk and Bodis for 4th position. The next lap, though, the Hungarian reclaims the spot. Behind them, Zacconi overtakes Ruiz for the 10th spot at turn 5. Faccani, with no pressure, takes off after 2 laps and says goodbye to the rest. Caricasulo and Tessels ride together, but the Dutch seems to be studying the Italian. The final lap begins, Faccani dominates just like the entire season. Tessels attacks Caricasulo at turn 1 and passes him. At turn 5, Tessels messes up and the Italian slips in. The Dutch passes at 11 and keeps the position till the end, taking 2nd place over number 64. Michalczyk is 4th, followed by Bodis and Tucci. Faccani wins the 3rd consecutive race, his 4th in 5 races, setting him up to win the next title.
Sul circuito andaluso di Jerez de la Frontera, Faccani può portarsi a casa il titolo europeo. A fare la pole è proprio il pilota di Ravenna con il suo diretto rivale Tessels, che è solo quinto. Faccani si prende quindi la prima posizione in griglia con un tempo di 1.46.649. In seconda posizione il belga Duels, Tucci è terzo e Caricasulo quarto. Al via il migliore è proprio il numero 64 che compie un grande stacco e prova ad impensierire Faccani, che però resiste all'esterno ed al comando. Brutta partenza per Duels che perde posizioni. Alla curva 2 carambola che coinvolge Puffe e Casalotti. Alla fine del primo giro dietro i 2 italiani troviamo Tucci e Duels che ha recuperato qualche posizione persa a causa del brutto scatto. Quinto Zaccone davanti a Rinaldi e un attardato Tessels, con Salvadori ottavo. Zaccone alla 7 passa il belga e alla curva 9 Tucci prendendosi il podio virtuale all'inizio del terzo giro. Faccani come al solito prova a spingere, ma questa volta si porta dietro Caricasulo, mentre dietro Zaccone cade all'ultima curva e abbandona la lotta per il podio. Alla curva 6 caduta di Gobbi, che scivola su una perdita della moto di Salvadori, che poco dopo si accorge del problema e rientra ai box. Dietro la coppia in testa alla gara, Duels e Tucci si giocano la medaglia di bronzo, con Rinaldi e Tessels che tentano di raggiungerli. A 5 giri della fine, al comando della gara troviamo sempre Faccani, che non riesce a scrollarsi di dosso Caricasulo, che sembra abbia adottato una strategia simile a quella di Tessels contro di lui a Portimao. Nei 2 giri successivi Caricasulo accusa un po' il colpo da Faccani, distanziandosi di circa mezzo secondo. Nonostante ciò, il numero 64 guadagna quasi un secondo su Duels, ancora terzo e ancora in lotta con Tucci per il gradino più basso del podio. Il belga resiste molto bene agli attacchi dell'italiano che si infila in curva 5. Il numero 52 tenta la staccata impossibile alla curva dopo, ma l'italiano resiste. A 2 giri dalla fine, Faccani ha un vantaggio di un secondo su Caricasulo e può considerarsi al sicuro dagli attacchi del connazionale. Poco dietro, Duels si riprende la posizione su Tucci alla 6. Davanti, Faccani inizia l'ultimo giro con 2 secondi di vantaggio su Caricasulo. Nonostante il distacco rassicurante e la certezza di un titolo strameritato, il numero 5 continua a spingere e taglia il traguardo da campione europeo della categoria. Con questa vittoria Faccani fa 4 di fila, quinta su 6 gare, dimostrando una superiorità imbarazzante rispetto al resto dei piloti della categoria. Tornando alla cronaca di gara, Caricasulo chiude secondo a 2 secondi e mezzo e Duels è staccato di 7 secondi e mezzo dal leader.
The final round of Superstock 600 Championship is at the French Magny-Cours circuit. Italian Marco Faccani of Team Italia has already clinched the championship title. One of the wildcard entries for this round secured the pole position. That's Morgan Birche on Yamaha in 1:44, followed by another wildcard Toprak Razgatlioglu, who came from the Red Bull Rookies Cup and is a student of Kenan Sofoglu. Third place goes to another wildcard, Guillaume Antiga on fourth place for Matthew Marshall on Yamaha. The new champion for The race starts with Razgatlioglu in the lead, followed by Antiga and Bershi. Disaster at turn 5 as Caricasulo slides, causing many other pilots like Canducci, Lagonigro, Salvadori, Antiga, and its red flag. After the marshal cleared the track, the race resumes for an adjusted 8 laps. Caricasulo, Razgatlioglu is in the lead again at the second start, followed by Berche and Antiga. Everything's smooth. At the end of the first lap, the Turkish rider leads ahead of Dumont and Berche. Rider 41 overtakes the Turkish rider at turn 5 and retakes the lead. Razgatlioglu, who had the habit of sliding the bike already then, tries to overtake Dumont at the 5, succeeding against rider 41, who due to hesitation also loses second place to Berche and slows the group behind him. End of the lap sees the positions unchanged, but the group's closing in. Meanwhile, Gobbi and Zaccone crash at turn 14. At turn 9 of the next lap, Dumont slips ahead of Berche, who also gets overtaken by Touli and starts dropping places. 3 laps from the end, Dumont still leads ahead of Razgatlioglu and Turkish rider tries to overtake at turn 5, but the French still leads. A bit behind, Berche overtakes Faccani for 4th place. A disaster at turn 5, though smaller than the first. Razgatlioglu hits Touli on the inside, who makes Berche lose control. Berche crashes and Faccani crashes too, for being on the outside of the trajectory. The dominating championship ends with a withdrawal. The poleman restarts and finishes 15th. The final lap starts with Dumont leading ahead of Razgatlioglu and Touli. Conditions remain the same at turn 5. At turn 12, Dumont makes a mistake, goes long in braking, and opens the door for Razgatlioglu to slip inside at turn 13. Rider incredibly holds the outside at turn 14, remains steady at turn 15, and wins the last race of the season. Dumont manages to keep second place, while Touli is third. That's the end of the European Stock 600 2014. The 2015 season promises to the champion will move to the World Championship, and Toprak Razgatlioglu will be a new entry in the European Championship. And if he races like he did in Magny-Cours, it's going to be fun.